I'm Dale Holford from Dale's Gig Reviews and Metalliville Online Magazine. And here we have in front of me is Brendan B.Brown from Wheatus. Hello, Brendan.
Hello, Dale. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's nice to be talking to you, and it's hopefully everything goes all smoothly, touching wood, being all
Sure.
superstitious. So you've got your tour coming up. It's a very busy tour starting on I've got my notes in front of me as usual. 23rd of November and finishing on December the 13th at the OVO Arena in Wembley. And it's a very busy tour. You haven't got much time for walking around and sightseeing. It's like,
Yeah, we almost never do. They're always chalkers. The most we ever did was back in 2023. We did, or was it 2024? I can't remember now. But we did 47 shows in, I think it was 60 days or 50. No, it was less. It was 55 days. 47 shows in 55 days. We did. Yeah,
that's a lot.
yeah. It was
Do
that
you
was the
not like
crazy.
do you not like countries? You don't like to go sightseeing. You just want to get through them as quickly as possible.
No, I would love to sightsee, but we're not really there for that, you know. And I mean, I've been to England and the United Kingdom and Ireland and Europe so many times that we've been around a bunch, you know.
Yeah.
And what you wind up wanting to do, believe it or not, my where I'm at, I like to find the greasy spoon that I like to come back to, you know. There's a place in Holyhead called the Beach Nut that I just can't wait to get to. So that's the kind of sightseeing that I enjoy. Yeah, there's a guy named Dave who
They're the
works there.
best.
Yeah, but I mean, the nature of tour is that you really want to get into a rhythm of where you play in a show, getting some good rest, getting up and doing it again, right? And if you try and stick in all this, oh, what if we go see that famous rock that's buried out in that field? Like I mean, it gets a little bit like you can get off the path, and not and be all of a sudden you're not delivering your finest work.
I get you. I get you. So, what do you do to wind down between shows?
I tend to watch a film or two. I have the repeat. I'm a repeat offender. I watch the same movies over and over again. That sort of guy. The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford, or I like a good Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Okay.
Yeah, Sexy Beast. The good English films that are on the English tour buses. Those are the ones I kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
gravitate towards. Yeah,
I think my go-to film is Once Upon a Time in the West.
sure,
It's just one of those films which I can just put on and get lost in. And I
exactly,
think they're the best. They're the best films where you get lost in them.
absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Do you have to wear a disguise when you're in England? Because you're very famous over here.
Nah, just pull my hat down close over my eyes and pretend I'm just a bloke. Walking around in a tracksuit helps. Just you tracky
Yeah.
dacks,
Of
innocuous.
course, your song, which we've got to go to, Teenage Dirtbag, sold 5 million copies. Your album sold over 1 million copies, and that's quite an achievement for something you recorded in your mum's basement.
True. Um, yeah, it's exciting. All these years later, looking back on that time, it wasn't really successful out of the gate in America. It didn't gain traction for many years. Of course, you guys
Yeah.
treated it differently, and we're grateful for that. But the states finally came around. But England, the United Kingdom, Ireland, Wales, Scotland. Um, that's that's where it really started for us. That's where we began to have a music career that we could sustain. We had hit in Australia before that, and it was nice. It was really nice. And we tried for a few months becoming an Australian band, but financially it was so expensive just to be there. But then, of course, the United Kingdom happened, and it became a place that we've gone back to every single year at least once, except for 2009. when the
Right.
financial crisis hit. That was the only year we
Yeah.
took off. But it's been our second home. We have our friend Jane Greenwood in Birmingham who helps get our pick up our merch deliveries when we're getting ready for tour, and Paul Coleman at Star Cruiser Busing in Liverpool, and Tom and Shannon, our Scouse crew who work the shows. And it's all local. We don't really bring any American crew other than the band. We bring just
Yeah.
ourselves, and the UK people do all of them. And Danny, our merch um, person. So we kind of it's a very English UK based operation, to be sure.
Yeah.
Scouse, to be
That's good,
specific. Yeah.
that's good though.
Yeah.
Because I live in the centre of the UK, a place called Chesterfield, and
Oh
we've got
yeah,
a
sure.
castle. Yeah, we've got a castle. We've got a museum with steam trains. It's fabulous, and I'm sure if I kick the children out for a couple of days, we'll quite happily put you up on your tour. You know,
I'm not sure you want that. Though. Be careful what you wish for. You get a bunch of touring musicians in your house. It look like the dogs have been through it.
we've got lots of children. That's normal.
Okay.
But of course, you started off with your brother Peter, and your sister Liz also joined you on tour. So, are they going to be joining you on this tour?
No, they're not. They're not going to be with us on this run. We are talking to one of the older members about a possible guest appearance. That is
Oh,
that is in discussion right now. So,
right. Is that
but
hush hush? You can't let me know who?
well, I don't have an official plan for it yet, but we're trying to get an old familiar face back
Right.
onto one or two of the shows for a special appearance. Yeah.
Well, that'd be fabulous. Because you also done a couple of covers. You did the Little Respect from Erasure, which
Yeah.
I've got behind me, Erasure album.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I've
Nice.
got a few Erasure albums. And you also did Hit Me With Your Best Shot, didn't you?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
lady there behind us there.
We did. Oh, Pat Benatar. Yeah, yeah. She's an incredible singer.
Yes.
And our partner, I think it's Neil, is such a fantastic guitar player. Um, but that's the music I grew up with. That '80s synth pop and rock and radio music. Was all around. You couldn't get away from it. And we had a station here in New York, on Long Island specifically, called WDRE, and they played all the Brit pop stuff. So you could turn that on and hear the Smiths and the Cure and Depeche Mode and the Boo Radleys and Blur and Erasure. Um,
Yeah.
and that's where I heard of Echo Belly
Oh,
and
Echo Belly.
Curve, yeah, Echo Belly, Curve, and all of fantastic Ride and the Stone Roses and of course Jarvis and Richard
Jarvis from
Ashcroft.
just up the road from us in Sheffield, of course.
Indeed, yeah, yeah. For my money, the two greatest UK artists of the last 50 years are Jarvis Cocker and Richard Ashcroft. In terms of the rock and roll singing world,
Yeah.
that's those
Yeah.
guys. Um, yeah, so it's like we had a bit of that coming up. When I was in high school, we heard that music, and Chains of Love and A Little Respect were both heavy rotation, and I just fell in love with both those compositions. They're brilliant, and when we started messing around with them, A Little Respect just really worked on guitar so
Yeah.
easily and turned into a big distorted track as well, very easily. We didn't change anything really. It's the same chords, it's the same, almost the same tempo. So, kudos to them for writing a forever banger.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course, you did the same. We get a lot of cover bands. I don't know if you've ever gone and watched a cover band. Um, they sing songs they like sing free, all right now, and then they will sing a Blink 182 song, and then they sing a Little Respect from Wheatus, and it's like it's
Hang
up
on a
there
minute.
with the classics. It's quite
Yeah.
incredible. How does that make you feel that you're up there with the classics?
Very, very lucky. Very fortunate. Early on, we didn't know what we were doing. and we were just kind of following our instincts, and it turned out we pissed off all the right people, and kept our wits and kept our money safe, and it looked rather bleak for a while there, but it's begun to be much more comfortable these days, and touring and being a full-time band. Every year I'd say prior to 2019, every year felt like it would be the last. Um,
Yeah.
you know, and there's a film that somebody is working on called "You Might Die," which is about our hardest years of touring. There, they followed us around on tour, um, and shot the worst of the worst, where I was the tour manager and I was also doing all the booking, and it was just, I was completely just exhausted, and trying to push through these shows and trying to get this band back on the road again, and then getting home and selling everything on eBay and starting over again. It was a weird time for us, but I'm happy to say that things have kind of leveled out a little bit more, and we have found a place where we can do the touring and do the recording, and not be worried that it's the last time.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've now not got that sort of pressure that you was the pressure put on by yourself or people around you though?
Well, we didn't have anybody around us. It was all the pressure was self-generated. I have to say, we haven't had a manager since 2005. We haven't had a
Yeah.
record label since 2003. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's been an independent project since then. In fact, the large majority of our time doing this from 1995 until now, is a total of 30 years, has been completely independent. We spent 2.5 of those years on a major label, and that was it. Um, the rest has been, the rest of the 80 songs or so that you see streaming online is all just us making stuff in our basement still, or actually
Yeah.
a little bit. We're up a few floors out of the basement now, as you can see, but it's still a homemade project all the time. Popsicle sticks and
Yeah.
glue and whatever else you can use, to make it happen.
Yeah. That's brilliant. Because have you ever thought of like doing a duet with like Pat Benatar? Because you're from the same sort of area. I'm sure
Oh
she's
yeah.
heard of you.
Maybe she has. I don't know. She got nothing to prove to the likes of me, but I would jump at that. She's a legend, and I would certainly jump at that opportunity. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And because my partner, it's her go-to song on karaoke, and she sings it really well. To be fair, so
Yeah,
that
it's
that
not
could be
easy to
another
sing that
duet
song.
down the road.
Yeah, that's a tough sing, that one. Pat has a 3 octave range. She's just no
Yeah,
jokes. It's
yeah.
not.
No, my partner sings Pat Benatar extremely well. She knocks herself down, but she does do a good job of it.
Right,
Um,
really.
so yeah, you've got obviously One Direction was doing. What did you think of their version of your song?
I loved it. I thought that I went to see it live a couple times, and I thought it was one of the hardest hitting parts of their set. They really drove it home. Um,
Yeah,
and I came to find out that it was their idea. It was actually their notion to do that song was authentic. So I was grateful for that. I partnered up with Sandy Beals and Josh Devine from the One Direction band, and we have a couple of songs out. A song called "Only You," and then they
yeah,
played. They both played on our song, "Temporary Song," which is a track that's on the B side of the 2020 version of the first record. Of course, that's
yeah,
20 songs long now. We doubled the size of that first album, with
yeah,
adding 10 songs that from over the years they kind of felt like they belonged on the first album, but that's why we didn't do them.
yeah.
um, so when it came time to do the first album again, it was appropriate to stick them all on there, and bring it together. So you get, I guess it's like an alternate universe version of our first record. So it's the first record as you know it, re-recorded, and then the second, like, you know multiverse version.
So you got 20 songs on this
Yeah,
latest
there's
one.
20 tracks on there. Yeah, and we didn't even put them all on. I think there's a couple of stragglers, so it's still to be dealt with. Yeah,
So a small album.
yeah, yeah. Tiny little thing.
Because on your album, Hand Over Your Loved Ones, you do a little bit of Teenage Dirtbag in the middle of, is it your first song going on to your second song? Or
Yeah,
um,
I'm glad you
it
picked up
was,
on that. I didn't know anybody caught that, but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Was there a moment where you just got absolutely fed up of singing it and fed up of hearing it? And
No, no, not Teenage Dirtbag. Never. That's never happened. The thing about that is, and this is another reason why we're quite a lucky band, is a lot of acts, especially from our generation, I guess the class of '99, we'll call it.
yeah,
Um, they had their big song was different from the rest of their music, and or was it a cover, or was A&R guy's idea, or something like that. And we didn't have any of those problems. We had this authentic to ourselves song that we really appreciated and enjoyed playing, and we still enjoy playing it, and we don't really, for that reason, it doesn't get old, you know. I still feel emotionally attached to that song. I still feel as though it tells some important part of my story, and that's what makes it easy to perform and to be enthusiastic about. So it never got old, it never got to that point. um, I will say that, the way that people interpret it is more important than how I relate to it. But that's another story for another day, I guess. But the point is only that, like, it's not become a burden at any point in our lives. It still feels really good, and it's quite hard to get right. We beat science, that rhythm, that feel, for like 4 years, from like 95 to 99. We really worked and tweaked it, all the little hi-hat notes and everything,
yeah,
on a drum machine, an MPC 2000 hip hop workstation. And then when we were finished with that, that's when my brother sat down and learned from what we had done in that programming. So my brother learned how to play it on the drums from this MPC 2000 hip hop workstation
yeah.
sequence. Yeah. So
Because you can tell that with the sound, because it starts off like hip hoppy and then goes into sort of acoustic and then rock, and it's a lot different than a lot of the other sounds that were around at that time.
sure, yeah. That was part of the problem for us. I wanted a track that had verses that sounded like they could have been Paul Simon or James Taylor, right, with the acoustic, or Ani DeFranco or the Indigo Girls. And then I wanted to come into the chorus with this sort of just gigantic Metallica Dinosaur Jr. kind of, with like a Rush kind of vocal approach. And I wanted this hybrid to happen, all while maintaining the inception of it is this hip hop loop that establishes the feel and the swing, which is more or less a Motown swing, or a resampled Motown swing, as they did so many times in '90s hip hop. So '80s and '90s hip hop. So, from LL Cool J to Paul Simon to Metallica, if you brought that into a studio in the '90s and you said, "Yeah, that's what I want you to make it sound like," they'd have kicked you out of there real fast, man. They would have had a good laugh. I mean, and that was the problem. I knew that. I had been in and out of enough studios to know that they would have a laugh with us. So we had to invent that hybrid recording technique ourselves, and it took about 4 years. And
Yeah.
yeah.
You've got some songs like Truffles and Punk Ass Bitch and Wanna Be Gangster. Are they all to do with your childhood? Because I know you came from quite a rough area.
Yeah. Well, no, Punk Ass Bitch was written by our bass player, Rich Leegee. And what he told me was that it was about one of his coworkers who was a rather obnoxious pest. But the others you mentioned, Truffles is kind of just a litany of the shit talk that kids in my high school dished out to each other every day.
Yeah.
I went to a boys' Catholic school. It was a commuter school too. It wasn't a posh sort of boarding school or anything like that. So it was like, I took the train there from home, and it was about an hour and a half each way. So I spent about 3 hours on the train every day, and the shit talk was just ruthless. And I mean, you want to talk about problematic? You don't even know the meaning of the word. This was the late 1980s, and it was a boys' Catholic school. It was a gladiator academy, really, is what it was. And I mean, that song is quite a bit cleaned up from what we really said to each other, if I'm being honest. Uh, yeah. So, you know. And then you get out into the wide world and you realize that people, not everybody talks to each other like that. You better talk, you better figure it out. Um, but yeah, that's what Truffles is.
Yeah. Because you do like putting your personal life out there for everybody to listen to, like with Lemonade, and it is quite a bare bones song, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
quite ruthless in
yeah.
in the lyrics, and it is some which unfortunately I can relate to, and other people can relate to, which is not a very
I don't
good
I
thing
don't
to
think
relate
I don't
to.
think anybody who's ever been dumped can't relate to to those feelings of um, just just not being good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the vibe on that one, and I couldn't think of a more sort of like immediate knee jerk uh, question that could come up. Like when there's jealousy and inadequacy, feelings of being inadequate, and all that. That
Yeah.
that would be the big.
All them questions that constantly go through your brain.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, keeping you up at night, rotting your cerebral cortex out. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So you poured it all out as lyrics.
Yeah, I mean, it was in some sense a little bit easier to write because it was true, you know.
Yeah.
As long as you're willing to stand up there and tell people about it for years and years and years, because that's what you wind up doing when you have. That's quite a popular song in the set list. We do all
Yeah.
request sets, so that it gets called every night, and it's like, here we go again. Got to tell this story and be
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Let's relive that painful moment
Yeah,
of
yeah.
my past. Yeah, so that's a good one. You also did BMX Bandits. When I was a kid, there was a film called BMX Bandits that Kylie Minogue was actually in.
Well,
So
actually,
when I
it wasn't Kylie Minogue, or was it? Was she guest in it? Was she? Did she
yeah,
really have?
she was in that. Yeah, she
Because I
before
know it
she
was
got
Nicole Kidman was the star, and I
yeah,
don't
Nicole
remember.
Kidman was in it.
So Kylie
Yeah,
Minogue has a guest in that. So I know
yes,
that film quite well. I have it on VHS and DVD, and I don't remember the
VHS.
Kylie. I got to rewatch that.
Yeah,
Yeah, Kylie was
this
actually
is when I'm totally wrong and I've read it wrong, but I'm pretty sure Kylie were in it because when Kylie were in Neighbours and it was quite a big deal that she were in this soap
right,
opera,
right.
and I'm pretty sure we all got out our VHS tapes to rewatch it.
Yeah. Well, if she was or if she wasn't in the film, I have a story to tell about her. She was so kind to us one night. We were at the Top of the Pops Awards in Manchester Evening News Arena, and we were visited by two big stars that night. Came to our dressing room to welcome us. One of them was Mel B, and the other was Kylie, and they were both so lovely. But Kylie really spent some time with us and wanted to know how we were doing and what was it like to come, be a new band in the UK and all
Yeah,
that stuff. She was really, really quite nice and friendly, and it took some of the edge of the nerves off, really to just be sort of welcomed by somebody who, I mean, Locomotion was a humongous hit when we were kids, so it was like just one of these like, is she really standing in our dressing room? She knows who we are. What the fuck? Like, like holy cow. And she at the time, I don't know if you remember, she had that na 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 na.
yeah.
Oh man,
Can't get you out of my head.
what a tune, man. What a
Yeah,
tune. That's just like her best song. And she
and
was,
that video.
yeah, killing. And she was on top. She was way up on top and just made time for us from her perch there where she was. And we just felt like what a lovely person that she is to
Yeah.
do, you know.
She's one of those that I've only ever heard good things about, which is a good it's a good compliment. You never hear anything bad about her, do you? She's like one of them celebrities that she comes across as how you'd expect to meet her. Just absolutely lovely and
Yeah.
welcoming, and you
And
know,
fucking talented.
yes, extremely talented.
Yeah.
See, Taylor Swift, she's famously said that she sat around the campfire with one of her relationships and listening and singing along to Teenage Dirtbag. And of course, that could be another duet for you, along with Pat Benatar.
Anytime Tay Tay wants us to come up on stage, we'll do it. She's an incredible songwriter and top-notch performer, and of course we would jump on that.
Yeah, well, she is. She's just such an incredible talent. But talking about talent panel, you was very poorly last year when we seen you at Download Festival when we were all cramped in a tent
How about
and
that one, huh?
all singing along to Teenage Dirtbag, and everybody had their mobile phones out recording it, and it was just absolutely incredible. Whole vibe and atmosphere was just off the scale. And then I
Yeah.
found out that you were poorly.
Yeah, buckets coming down, buckets of rain and mud. Um, yeah, oh man, I was so sick. I'd caught something a few days earlier in Belgium and it went right into my lungs. And I was just having the worst time trying to sing, but the crowd really pushed it through for us and made it a thing. I mean, that was just insane that the way that tent was moving. I mean, I couldn't believe it. It was just,
Did you
it's
see all
just
the people on the outside? It was just how many people were trying to get in was just incredible.
Oh, it's crazy. It was absolutely crazy. I was quite honored to see that happen at Download because Download is, of course, the original metal festival for me with Metallica
Yes.
and
Yeah.
knowing the history and just understanding Donington and at all was just to be there and to be recognized like that was like otherworldly, man. It was just, I was half tempted to break into Creeping Death and see what happened.
It was a gruesome weekend.
Yeah.
I've got to say, because I'm a disabled reviewer. I've got a few issues, and sadly, I couldn't get through the mud to go and see Pantera and Machine Head,
Oh, that's too
and
bad. Sorry, mate.
yeah, and Zebra Head. I really wanted to see them,
Oh,
and I
they're
couldn't get to
fantastic. We
see.
toured with them many years ago. They're those guys are entertaining, man. Super
Yeah,
cool.
I'm going to be seeing them in a couple of weeks, so I'm
Nice.
super excited. So I'm finally going to get to see them.
Well done.
So. Yeah, but last night, I mean, I'm tired today, and you can hear my throat is a bit hoarse. I was watching Lita Ford and Vixen last night and been
Oh,
getting to
wow.
2 in the
Lita
morning. So
Lita Ford is smoking. Kiss me once. What a tune. Yeah, she's great, man. Lita Ford kicks
yeah,
ass. Yeah.
yeah, we got to meet them as well, which was really nice, and it was just a fantastic night. But you know what it's like when you go to a concert and you
Yep.
singing along, and yeah,
I did one last night. I got back at 2:30 in the morning for because I was doing a guest appearance with Good Charlotte in Pennsylvania. So they had me
ooh,
on
good
to do
Charlotte,
yeah, they had me on to do Dirtbag and
yeah,
it was killer. I love playing with those guys. They're so fun. The band is great. They're just so great.
yeah.
Super pro. And we're all kind of the same age, so we have the same talking about our families and stuff. It's just like one of those like, okay, we've arrived, we made it, we're not dead yet. Really cool.
But what I love about you and Wheatus and the music, and especially the first album, is 25 years anniversary, I believe.
Mhm.
So it's been in my life for 25 years and my children's life. And now my 10-year-old son, he showed me his Spotify playlist, and on it is Teenage Dirtbag, which he found off his own back. And I'm like, I'm going to be interviewing that guy. And he was like, and he's been listening to it. And I think that is just, and it's what he found off his own back. And that is absolutely incredible. I love that. There's like a whole generation of people listening to your music.
This is what I was getting at before, whatever my background, wherever I came from, whatever made me write the song, that's all nice, but it's not as important as what a young person sees in how they see themselves in it, how they can make it their own. And that's the only ongoing sustainable life that the song has is the way people, young people and old people, see themselves in it moving forward. And that's flexible, right? That can be all the various uh, cover versions of the song that have been done. Chris Carrabba, Phoebe Bridgers, SZA. Um, Most recently, Kevin Gates was on TikTok talking about singing Teenage Story. I mean, like it's whoever feels it in their heart, that's what it means, right? Whatever I think it means, not quite as important as what it means to somebody who's discovered it as their own song.
Yeah. But it's not age. The song's not age. It still sounds as fresh now as what it did when it first come out.
Well, that's lucky. I mean, we had a good mastering engineer, George Marino. We had a good mixing engineer, David Thoner. They made it sound the way that it does. So that's fortunate.
Yeah. But he also had two absolutely amazing videos as well for Respect and Teenage Dirtbag. I mean, in Respect, you had the very beautiful Brittany Murphy, who's sadly no longer with us.
Yeah.
And you had Sean Hattersley, and of course, you had them very famous Mena Sarvari in the Teenage Dirtbag video as well, didn't you? And,
Yeah, that was
you
our
know, you had
thing for a
some,
little while.
yeah, you had some big names.
We had to have good-looking people in because we're not all that. But it was nice. It was nice to have talented, people be interested in being involved in our music that way because they have to decide to do it. Really, is what it is. They're not obligated.
Yeah.
And talk about Mina Savari being, one of the most talented young actors of her time. That back then and still is really. And it's just like kind of, we were lucky again, like stroke of luck.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, in your video, you had a bloke, one of your band members playing a banana, which I was totally fixated on that. I was like, there's moments of confusion, really enjoying the song, and I'm like, is he playing a banana?
Yeah, that's Phil. I still have that banana shaker downstairs. We use it almost every day. But I mean,
So it's actually like a maraca. It's not
oh
real
yeah, yeah,
banana.
yeah. It's a banana shaped maraca. Yeah, that's basically
Oh,
what
that's brilliant.
it. Yeah.
You should have that branded, have them made with Wheatus on it, and sell them on your
Selling
merch
banana
store.
shakers at the merch booth. You'd never hear the end of it. It's all you would hear all night. Is shuk, 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 shuk. Yeah,
The whole crowd, instead of mobile phones up, they're all shaking
yeah,
bananas.
yeah.
See, I should be in charge of your merch. I've just come
Yeah,
up with great
truly,
ideas.
truly, mate. You're
Uh,
hired. This is a no-brainer. This is really just too on the nose.
yeah, you're also good friends with Bowling for Soup as well. You just
Oh
did a
yeah,
tour with them, supporting
yeah,
them, and
exactly.
yeah, they're great guys.
The best. I've always said that, since about 2007 when I got to know Jarrett and watch him work, he's like he's like Johnny Carson if Johnny Carson could also shred on the guitar, and sing like Vince Neil. I mean, like he's a really entertaining guy, and I
Yeah,
think that seeing that they've only gotten better at it, and that they're at their best that they've ever been, I wouldn't be surprised if the whole PA were to go out and all the guitar amps were stolen and somebody burned the guitars, Jarrett Reddick could stand up in front of an audience and entertain him for 2 hours by himself, and they would be glad that they paid the money. I mean, he's that kind of an entertainer. He's authentic, and every
and
time.
on going on with entertainment, we've got to request some music, I believe, on
That's
your
true.
show.
Yeah.
How do
Well,
we
we
go about that?
just shout them at me when we're setting up. Shout me some songs. That's all you need. And it's all request sets. So you shout them, we play them. So this particular tour, because it's the 25th anniversary, obviously we're going to be favoring the first album. We're going to play all of it, right? It's all going to be dished out. I don't know what order it's going to be in, but because requests come as requests come, but it's going to be first album centric, and we'll throw in a bunch of others on the States tour, the United States version of the tour. About 4 months ago, we were doing, I guess, about an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours of playing per night. So we're gonna stay up there until the job is done. But it's just it's much better for us that way. It's much better for the audience. They get what they want. Because if you have a set list, everyone's subjected to the tyranny of the set list. That's not very fun. What if the audience wasn't in the mood for that? What if they had a bad day? What if they had a great day and they don't want to hear your slow song? I mean? So let them tell you what to do and just learn your music and be ready to play it. That's how we're approaching this. That's how we've done it since 2000, and I guess it was about 2010 we started doing that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's way better. It's way better for us. It's way better for the audience to get the show that they're looking to have.
Yeah. Well, tell me about Zelda because I like Zelda. I've been
You
listening to
like
that.
that tune?
Yeah, I
Zel-
like that
Zel-
tune.
Zelda's a song from our seventh album, as yet unreleased, that I wrote with James Bourne from
Right.
Boston. He's a buddy of mine. He's one of a handful of people who, if they show up at my door at 2 o'clock in the morning, they get a bed. No questions asked. And he did that very thing on the night that we wrote Zelda. He showed up about 1 a.m. His flight had been delayed. He was all completely exhausted, and he sat down in the chair across from me, and I gave him a half an egg sandwich that was in the fridge from the morning, and he's eating it, and he says, I gotta write a song that starts with Z. I said, what? He said, I'm doing an alphabet, and I can't figure out a song that I can write that starts with Z. And I went and got the guitar, and I went, oh, Zelda, I'll be here. And then we started writing at 1 o'clock in the morning, and he came alive, and you know, we got the song done overnight, really. I think that was probably about 2015 or 16. And it's one of my favorites. I played that song for Benji last night in the dressing room, just hanging out. That's funny you mentioned Zelda. Yeah, I think it's kind of a tune. It's going on our seventh, so we haven't recorded it yet, but it has been performed live quite a few times. So, yeah.
Oh, excellent. And so that's hopefully when I can look forward to. I'll be shouting it. Well, I'll be at the front taking photos of you, but I'll also
Hell
go,
yeah.
Zelda.
Sounds like a plan.
Dynamite, satchel of pain.
Hey, call them all, man. Call them all. We're ready.
Because great song. I love Dynamite, satchel of pain. It's definitely one of my favourites. Before we disappear, I have got some questions. I've got to ask them again. I did ask them previously on my 35-minute silent movie that I've got with you. But these are from fans around the UK. There's only a handful of them. Jack Cooper from where I live, Chesterfield. He asks, when did you find out you could sing like a girl?
Oh, wow. That's an interesting question. I always had sort of a very punchable voice, if you will. And I sang along to female vocalists, Cyndi Lauper and Pat Benatar, Prince, Geddy Lee, Bon Scott, all technically female vocalists, if you're talking about range, yeah. Before I hit puberty. So when I did, I just kept singing like that, and it kind of worked. And I think that I maybe figured it out while singing along with my grandmother or harmonizing with my grandmother, perhaps. But I mean, early on, it was just a voice that I used to antagonize bullies, to cut the time down between being threatened and being beaten up. It was the anticipation I couldn't stand. So I was like, come on, let's get this done. And you use that voice and you become very punchable. But the fact is that it feels very natural for me still. I'm 51 and I haven't had any part of it sort of sag down yet. So I'm going to keep going until I can't.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've got Stu Smith from Wigan. He asked, "Did you ever get tickets?"
There's a vintage BMX shop in Wigan called Allen's. Tell him I said what's up.
I will tag them in this video.
Hell yeah.
He asked, "Did you ever get 2 tickets for Iron Maiden?"
I did. I got them from Bruce Dickinson. I got them from the band themselves. They gave them to me at Madison Square Garden. They had heard the song and they said, let's have him down and as a guest. And I still have a picture right here in front of me, actually. Here's me and Bruce on stage singing together on one of our tours. So we were friends for a while, and I had Christmas dinner with Bruce at Christmas 2001. And
Right.
he was a really lovely guy. He also sang on the only song we've ever done in a real studio, which was done at Abbey Road. The single version of "Wanna Be Gangster" was done in Abbey Road at Room 2.
It doesn't really sing. It's sort of like just in the background, doesn't he?
Well, he's doing the vocals. Yeah, he's doing the chorus vocal. He's doing.
He does the chorus vocals as well.
Then you hear him at the end.
I heard that. Yeah,
absolutely killing it at the end there. And that was fun. That was a moment because I was producing the track in Abbey Road with one of my heroes, And I said, he said, "What do you want me to do at the end here?" I said, "You know that shit that you do at the Run to the Hills." He goes, "Yeah." I was like, a little bit like that, like just shred it, And he just did exactly that, and it was like, that's Bruce Dickinson. That's him. That's what he sounds like. Holy shit! you know.
Yeah, were you stood there like this?
Oh yeah, we were beside ourselves. We were like, you know, and fanned out that we couldn't take it. You know, just so
Oh,
cool.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And so we're sadly come to my final question. The silent partner on this video is Mike Young, and he asks, would you rather fight a gorilla-sized rabbit or, have I got this right? Hang on, I've lost it actually. Oh, here we go. A gorilla-sized rabbit or 100 rabbit-sized gorillas?
Uh, I'd have to take the gorilla-sized rabbit because you can't fight that many. You can't fight too many small. Well, uh, no. 100 rabbit-sized gorillas.
Yeah.
They would stand a chance at taking you down because if they're coordinated, um, then you're fucked, right? So you gotta know if they're like if they're planning with each other, you're in deep shit. So I would fight the one guy and hope to be quick enough. The one gorilla sized rabbit would be my choice. It's a terrible choice in either case, but I think you're doomed if those rabbits are on the same page. Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Um, I've, I've been an absolute pleasure talking to you again. This is our second time. I mean, a third time we'll be like buddies and Christmas card
You know
recipients. You
what,
know,
mate?
it's like,
You're such a lovely chap. I wouldn't mind it a bit. That's fine.
oh, well, thank you very much. I take that as a huge compliment.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed speaking to you. I can't wait to see you again live. I will be taking photos and doing you a glowing review, no doubt.
Yeah.
So
Thanks.
I'll look forward to seeing you.
Thanks,
And
mate. We'll see you soon. Let us know which show you're coming to, and turns out you know a guy. We can get you on a list somewhere, I think. But yeah, keep in touch.
that's brilliant. Well, thank you very much, and see you soon.
Thank you, Dale.
Okay, bye bye.